Hello and welcome to all of you present here. Today I am going to discuss the further topics of the chapter manufacturing industry, and here I am going to discuss the agro-based industry first. In the earlier video lesson we had already discussed about the meaning of manufacturing, then we had discussed about the role of manufacturing industry in the economy, then we had discussed about the classification of industry on five different phases, and according to the raw material used it may be the agro-based and mineral-based. So here we are going to start the agro-based industry. Agro-based industry, as the word suggests, you might be totally guessing it that the raw material may be coming from the agriculture sector. And cotton industry, jute industry, silk, woolen, textile industry, sugar industry, edible in oil industry, etc. There are different kinds of other also agro-based industry. So these are called the agro-based industry because they use the raw material from the agricultural sector. Here we will discuss first of all the textile industry, which is agro-based industry and very important in context of India. The textile industry occupies unique position in the Indian economy because it contributes significantly to the industrial production, 14%. And as far as the employment generation is concerned, 35 million person directly get jobs, and it is the second largest after the agriculture. You still know that for the livelihood, almost 50% of population in India is still engaged in agriculture sector. Although in GDP its contribution is very around 18%. The primary sector, which is known as the agricultural sector, its contribution in GDP is around 18%. But still, people's livelihood heavily depend on agriculture. Still, 50% of population in India are engaged in agriculture sector. So agriculture was the first employment generation sector in India, and after agriculture, there is going to be the cotton textile industry in India, which provides about 35 million person employments, and it contributes 40% out of total industrial productions. And as far as the foreign exchange is concerned, it provides up to 24.6% foreign earnings, and its contribution in GDP is 4%. It is the only industry in the country which is self-reliant and complete in value chain from raw material to the highest value added products. You may see the chart which clarify how the value is added at different stages of manufacturing of the cloths. First of all, the raw fiber is taken out from by the grinding process. When the cotton ball is plucked from the cotton plants, then grinding process is done to sort out the raw fibers, and fiber production is made. So first stage is fiber production, which is done from raw fibers. Then a spinning activity is done, which converts in yarn or thread. Then this thread is used for the weaving and knitting process, which produce the fabrics. And it is in white color because cotton is in white color, but the fabrics and cloths are of different colors. So coloring is known as dyeing, and dyeing and finishing is another steps. Then lastly, garment production is made. So we see that at each stage the value increases of the cotton textile industry production process. Raw fiber value increased when it turns into thread, and it's due to its spinning, and its value also added when it turns into the fabrics. Cotton textile industry. In ancient India, cotton textile were produced with hand spinning and handloom weaving techniques. You should know one fact that the cultivation of cotton has been traced back in India 7,000 years ago in Mehergarh. Now it is present in Pakistan in Indus Valley civilization. So the people in its Indus Valley civilization had already came to know how to cultivate the cottons, but they used to make the cloths by their hand techniques, and hand looms were, जिसको हाथ का करघा कहते हैं, hand looms were used for weaving the cloths. After the 18th century, पावर लूम्स केम टू बी यूज्ड. 18वीं शताब्दी के बाद से मशीन से चलने वाले करघे आ गए. Our traditional industries suffered a setback during the colonial period because they could not compete with the mill-made cloths from England. You should know that the establishment of large-scale industry, which is known as the Industrial Revolution, had taken place first time in England, and after 1800, during during the second half of the 18th century. and it was the cotton textile which was the first industry which was established in England. Then different kinds of industry started to be established in different parts of the world, and it was supposed that the industrial revolution has begun. Since during that time of period there was British rule in India, India was the colony of the Britishers. So Britishers also established cotton textile in India, and first cotton textile mill was established 1854 in India in Mumbai. So when the mill-made cloths flooded the Indian market, the people started prefer to purchase the mill-made products which were easy to use and cheap. But Indian traditional system of producing cotton textile was based on handloom, and it was the weavers' work. So our traditional weavers got setback when Britishers flooded the Indian market with mill-made cloths. They used to take cotton from India as a raw material, and they manufactured in the factories in England, and then they started to sell it in Indian market for much profit, and it destructed the livelihood of the Indian weavers. After you should know also one thing clearly that there had taken place two world wars in Europe. First was from 1914 to 1918, and second was from 1939 to 1945. During war periods there was heavy demand of the cloths, and this industry had got some support and boost up due to demand during war periods. There is one data regarding number of mills in India. As on 13 November 2011, there were 1,946 cotton and human-made fiber textile mill in India, out of which 80% are in private sector. Apart from this, few are in public sector and in corporate sector. And apart from this, there are several thousand small household like factories where 1, 2, 4, and 10 looms are used as a cottage industry. So registered cotton textile mills in 2011 were 1,946, out of which 80% were in private sector. In the early years, the cotton textile industry was concentrated in cotton growing belt of Maharashtra and Gujarat. Availability of raw material, cotton, market, transport, including accessible port facility, labors, moist climate, etc., contributed towards its localization. So, localization of factory is a multi-dimensional aspect because all the factors cannot be easily available at one place, and the last and the foremost thing it should be taken into consideration while establishing the industry, that there should be least production cost. So first of all, in the beginning in India, the cotton textile mill were started to be established around Maharashtra and Gujarat, and it was due to availability of raw cotton because it was cotton growing belt. Black soil was available in these states, so it was raw material was easily available there. Market facility was there. Mumbai, Surat like big cities were there. Labor, cheap labor were there. Moist climate also help in making of the threads, because if there will be dry climate there will be chances of breaking of the threads. So all this contributed for the concentration of the localization of the cotton textile industry in Maharashtra and Gujarat in the beginning. The industry has close links with agriculture and provides a living to farmers, cotton ball pluckers, and workers engaged in ginning, spinning, weaving, dyeing, designing, packaging, tailoring, and sewing. Cotton textile industry is such types of industry which incorporate various groups of people with various skills, and it provides livelihood to the various kinds of people. It provides livelihood for the cotton ball pluckers. It provides earning for the farmers who produce the cotton. It provides earning for the spinning work, where the spinning work is done, weaving work is done, dyeing with coloring of the cloths, designing, packaging, tailoring. It also needs a special group of people. Sewing, it needs also group of people. So cotton textile industry provides livelihood and earnings to the different kinds of people which are directly or indirectly concerned with the production of the cotton textile industry. And also it produce demands for various other industries like chemical and dyes industry, mill stores, packaging materials industry, and engineering works. Then While spinning continues to be centralized in Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Tamil Nadu, weaving is highly digitalized to provide scope for incorporating traditional skills and designs of weaving in cotton, silk, jerry, embroidery, etc. So we just noted down that in the beginning, Maharashtra and Gujarat were the place where the cotton textile mill were established, started to be established, and still the spinning work is continues to be concentrated in Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Tamil Nadu. But weaving, it means make manufacturing of cloths is totally decentralized in due course of time in India, and decentralization of the cotton textile industry given scope to incorporate few traditional works and skills like designing and weaving in cotton, silk, jerry, embroidery. All this work are done in different parts of the country. India has world-class production in spinning, but weaving is supplies low quality of fabrics. It is very quite contradiction. India has world-class production of spinning. Spinning industry is such types of industry which produces threads, because the fiber of raw cotton is needed to be spined to turn into in thread. Then the thread will be used to weaving and manufacturing cloths. So spinning industry in India is of world class level, but the weaving industry provide low quality of fabrics. Why? The high quality yarn produced in the countries cannot be used by the these industries. Weaving is done by handloom, powerloom, and mills. So India has world-class production in spinning, but weaving supplies low quality of fabrics as it cannot use much of the high quality yarn. So the high quality yarn which is produced in world-class spinning industry, but it is not used by the weaving industry. So the fabrics are not of at world class somehow in respect of we have keeping our position in spinning. Weaving is done in three manner: by handloom, powerloom, and mills. The hand spun khadi provides large scale employment to weavers in their homes as a cottage industry. Khadi, is very famous. Mahatma Gandhi had also given thrust to the use of khadi during freedom struggle, and he also used to weave the khadi himself and used to wear the cloths made by himself. Why was such types of opinion of Mahatma Gandhi? And here it also written, why did Mahatma Gandhi lay emphasis on spinning yarn and weaving khadi? Why Mahatma Gandhi given thrust that this work should be done by people by hand? Because it was providing livelihood and earnings to the numerous people in India. If this work will be supplement with the mills, then thousands of weavers will lost their jobs, because all the spinning activity and weaving activity will be done by the mills. So people will prefer to purchase the mill products. So in the beginning, Mahatma Gandhi was had also thrust that the spinning and weaving activity should not be concentrated in mills. Emphasis should be on the spinning yarn and weaving khadi by hand, because it provides large scale employment to the uh, masses of the people in India. And here we see mill sector production is still 3.3%. 2010-11 data is here. Power looms is 84.1%. Handlooms is 11.1%, and others 1.3%. Study the figure above and note the share of mills in production of fabrics. So the mill sector is very low, meager, only 3.5%. Why is it important for our country to keep our the mill sector looms lower than power loom and hand? So mill sector looms means the number of looms in mill sector should be less in comparison to the power loom and hand loom, because in power loom it means hosiery sector and handloom, if the looms number of looms will be more, it will generate employment to the large number of people. But if we will increase the number of looms in mill sector, the mill sector will start to produce large quantity of cloths, but it will destroy the employment of many people, thousands of people. So it is important country like India that the livelihood and the job may not be get destroyed. The people may continue to find their job and their livelihood if they will continue to if we will keep the number of looms in mill sector less. India exports yarn to Japan. Other important countries which imports the cotton goods from India are USA, UK, Russia, France, East European countries, Nepal, Singapore, Sri Lanka, and African countries. So USA and European country like UK is also a good importer of Indian cotton textile industry and export our cotton cloths to these countries. Here you may see the factories and the mills, black color showing the cotton textile, red color woolen textile, and the star like showing silk textile. So here you see that the black color is looking in agglomeration in Maharashtra and Gujarat more. Vadodara, Surat, Pune, Wardha, Aurangabad, and red color you see in North India, uh, means woolen textile, Amritsar, Ludhiana, Punjab. These are woolen cloths producing. Srinagar, shawls are also produced there, and in West Bengal also there is cotton textile, Murshidabad, Hooghly. South India also you see Madurai, Coimbatore. So now we today we this map is showing us that cotton textile mills are totally decentralized. In the beginning it were only Maharashtra and Gujarat, but now it is totally decentralized. India had the second largest installed capacity of spindles in the world with 43.13 million spindles after China. So I had already told you the raw fiber needed to be converted into threads for the weaving of cloths. Weaving of cloths is done by help of thread, and thread is manufactured by help of cotton fiber. So how is it possible to fiber to turn into threads? It is by spindles. So spindles or spinning industry has such a data in India that India had 43.13 spindles in 2011-12 after China. Since the mid 80s, the spinning sector has received a lot of attention. We have a large share in the world trade of cotton yarn, accounting for one fourth of the total trade. We also make trading in cotton yarn or cotton thread, not only in cloths but also in cotton threads. And one fourth of the total trade of world in cotton threads, India accounts one fourth. Out of total cotton trade, India accounts one fourth. However, our trade in garments is only 4%. You see, here is also one contradiction thing. In the world trade of cotton yarn, India has 25% share. But in the world trade of cloths, India has only 4% of world's total. Our spinning mills are competitive at the global level and capable of using all the fibers we produce. So our share in cotton yarn is 25% in world trade because our cotton yarn in heavy demand in international market because we produce high quality cotton yarn. But as far as the products of fabrics is concerned, it is also needed for the India, but we are also exporting in world market, but it's just account for 4%. But our machinery, our mills are not producing world class, world level fabrics, which may be in heavy demand in the world market. If there will be no heavy demand of our clothes in world market, how is it possible for us to sell in the market? So one contradiction is here that we account 25%, one fourth of the world trade of cotton yarn, but we only account 4% in the world trade of cloths. Our spinning mills are competitive at the global level and capable of using all the fibers we produce. The weaving, knitting, and processing units cannot use much of the high quality yarn that is produced in the country. Why do we produce low quality fabrics in the world market? Because although we are producing world class level of thread and we account 25% in world trade, but our fabrics is of low quality and we account just 4%. Why? The weaving, knitting, and processing units in India cannot use much of the high quality yarn produced in the country. There are some large and modern factories in these segments, but most of the production is in fragmented small units which cater to the local markets. There is a heavy demand at local market also. So large scale industry are there which are producing world class level fabrics, but most of the production of cloths comes from the uh, small size industry, and which is fragmented in all over India and in private sector, and they caters the demand of local markets. This mismatch is a major drawback of the industry. As a result, many of our spinners export cotton yarn while apparel garment manufacturer have to import fabrics. So here what we see that our cotton yarn are exported into the world market, and the cotton yarn is exported into the world market, and garment manufacturer have to import fabrics. Although we have made significant increase in the production of good quality long staple cotton is of three size: लॉन्ग स्टेपल्स, मिडिल स्टेपल एंड शॉर्ट स्टेपल. जो रेशा की लंबाई होती है वो लंबी रेशा, मध्यम आकार की रेशा और छोटी आकार की रेशा होती है. जो कॉटन से रेशा निकलता है, फाइबर निकलता है, उसी रेशे से तो धागा बनता है और फिर धागे से कपड़े बनते हैं वीविंग करके. तो रेशा की जो लंबाई है, लॉन्ग स्टेपल रेशा को सबसे अच्छा माना जाता है. तो इसके प्रोडक्शन में हम लोग काफ़ी अचीवमेंट किए हैं. ये गुड क्वालिटी ऑफ लॉन्ग स्टेपल कॉटन, और इसका जो बंडल बनता है, एक बंडल 170 केजी का होता है. सो वी हैव प्रोड्यूस 356 लाख बेल्स ऑफ ड्यूरिंग 2011-12. द नीड टू इम्पोर्ट इज स्टिल फेल्ड. फिर भी हम लोग लॉन्ग स्टेपल कॉटन का बेल्स मतलब बंडल विदेशों से खरीदते हैं. पावर सप्लाई इज इरेटिक एंड मशीनरीज. तो इस जो इंडस्ट्री के कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, इसकी कुछ शॉर्ट कॉमिंग्स हैं, कमियां हैं, वो ये है कि we have to import cotton, long staple cotton bales, although we are capable enough to compete with the traditional market in spinning industry. Power supply is erratic and machinery needs to be upgraded, and in the weaving and processing sector in particular. So weaving machinery needed to be upgraded so they can match with the world level producer. Other problems are the low output of labor and stiff competition with synthetic fiber industry. So our output of labor is also very low, and there is stiff competition from synthetic fibers like nylon, terlon, these types of fibers which are synthetic fibers made clothes are also available in the market. The second important agro-based industry is jute industry. India is the largest producer of raw jute and jute goods and stands at the second place as an exporter after Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, jute is also known as golden fiber. So, India is the largest producer of raw jute and jute goods and stands second at place as an exporter after. So, as far as the production of raw jute and jute goods is concerned, India is at the first position. But in export sector, we are at the second position after Bangladesh. There were about 80 jute mills in India 2010-11. Most of these jute mills were established in West Bengal. So it's a tropical climate production jute, and it is heavily concentrated in West Bengal. So most of the jute mills are located in West Bengal along the river Hooghly, a narrow belt of 98 kilometer long and 33 kilometer wide. So jute production is not going to take place all over India. It is confined in the Hooghly river belt, which is in West Bengal. It is a stretch of 98 kilometer long and 3 kilometer wide. The first jute mill was set up near Kolkata in 1859 at Risra. After partition in 1947, the jute mills remained in India, but 3/4 of the jute producing area went to Bangladesh, erstwhile East Pakistan. So, as we see that the first cotton mill was established in 1854 in Mumbai, and first jute mill was established in Kolkata at Risra in 1859. But after partition in 1947, most of the jute mill remained in India, but the jute producing area went into the Bangladesh. Now it is known, earlier it was known as East Pakistan, it is known as Bangladesh, and in 1972 Bangladesh was formed. Factors responsible for their location in Hooghly basins are, why is, the question may be asked, why is there is localization of jute mills in Hooghly River belt in West Bengal only. Proximity of jute producing area first, inexpensive water transport second, support by a good network of railways, roadways and waterways to the facilitate movements of raw materials to the mills, abundant water for processing raw jutes, cheap labor from West Bengal and adjoining states of Bihar, Odisha and Uttar Pradesh. Kolkata as a large urban center provides banking, insurance and port facilities for exports of jute goods. So we have just come to know that the jute producing area are now only present in most of the jute producing area in confined in West Bengal, Hooghly River Belt, and the mills are 80 jute mills are also in periphery of this area in West Bengal. And why the localization of the jute mills in this area, Hooghly Belt area? There are few factors. Factors are that uh, it is the raw material are easily available because it is jute producing area, and transportation facilities available, roadways and waterways also available, and jute is such a product which needs abundant water for processing of jutes. Cheap labor is also needed, which is available in West Bengal as well as the adjoining states Bihar. And Kolkata is going to make the facility of big urban center and port facility and also banking, insurance and facilities. In 2010-11, the jute industry was supporting 3.7 lakh workers directly and another 40 lakh small and marginal farmers who were engaged in cultivation of jute and mesta. So in 2010-11 data is there that jute industry was supporting 3.7 lakh workers and 40 lakh small and marginal farmers who were engaged in jute production. Challenges faced by industry. Now this industry is also facing challenge. What sort of challenge there? Include stiff competition in international market from synthetic substitutes and from other competitors like Bangladesh, Brazil, Philippines. Now you see that many gunny bags, आप पहले बोरा देखते होंगे, आलू का बोरा, चीनी का बोरा, गेहूं का बोरा, सब जूट का होता था। अब आजकल सब ये चेंज हो गए हैं, आजकल प्लास्टिक के भी बोरे आ गए हैं, तो जूट की डिमांड कम हो गए। अब सीमेंट वगैरह के भी सब प्लास्टिक के ही हैं, तो जूट का डिमांड कम हुआ है। इस इंडस्ट्री के लिए घाटा का सौदा हुआ है। उसी तरह से अब जूट सप्लाई में ब्राजील, फिलीपींस और इजिप्ट, तो सिंथेटिक फाइबर आने से और ब्राजील, फिलीपींस और इजिप्ट और थाईलैंड जैसे देश के कंपटीटर उभरने से इस इंडस्ट्री को काफी कंपटीशन मिला है। हाउएवर द इंटरनेशनल डिमांड हैज बीन ऑन इंक्रीज ड्यू टू गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी ऑफ मैंडेटरी यूज ऑफ जूट पैकेजिंग। लेकिन गवर्नमेंट ने इस इंडस्ट्री को सपोर्ट देना शुरू किया और कहा कि कुछ जगहों पर जूट का गनी बैग्स यूज करना मैंडेटरी किया, जिससे इसको सपोर्ट मिला। टू स्टिमुलेट डिमांड्स द products needs to be diversified. In 2005, national jute policy was formulated with the objective of increasing productivity, improving quality, ensuring good prices to the jute farmers and enhancing the yield per hectare. So in 2005 the government framed a law, national jute policy, which has multi-dimensional support for the this sector. What were those? What were those? We will try to know it. That in 2005, national jute policy was formulated with the objective of increasing producing productivity, improving quality, ensuring good prices to the jute farmers, and enhancing the yield per hectare. The main markets are USA, Canada, Russia, United Arab Republic, UK, and Australia. The growing global concern for environment-friendly biodegradable materials has once again opened the opportunity for jute products. So in recent times, the plastic bags and plastic synthetic fiber availability in the market has given some problem to the this industry, but the government formulated a law in 2005, national jute policy, which helped in different manner, and now there is demand of jutes in USA, Canada, Russia, United, and it is getting boosted up. The third one is the sugar industry. India stands second as the world producer of sugar, but occupies the first place in the production of gur and khand sari. So India is at the first place in producer of sugar. India stands second, as the world producer of sugar, but occupies the first place in the production of gur and khandsari. So gur you already know, and khandsari, these are the sweet material utilized in our daily life, and it is also made from the juice of the sugarcane, and sugar is also made with the help of juice of sugarcane. The raw material used in industry is bulky and haulage its sucrose content reduces. So sugar industry mainly concentrated in sugar cane producing area, because if once the sugar cane is harvested from the agriculture farmland, it is it is instantly needed to be sent back to the factories, because if there will be late in sending the sugar cane to the factory, there will be chances of drying of the sucrose content. तो ज़्यादा देर होगा अगर इसको फैक्ट्री में भेजने में, ज़्यादा लंबी दूरी तय करनी पड़ेगी, तो इसका रस रास्ते में ही सूख जाएगा, तो फिर जूट का प्रोडक्शन कम होगा, इसलिए सॉरी शुगर का प्रोडक्शन कम होगा, इसलिए शुगर इंडस्ट्री शुगर प्रोड्यूसिंग एरिया के बीच में ही इस्टेब्लिश किया जाता है. ये रॉ मटेरियल बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री है. Where should be the mill ideally located? In 2010-11, there were over 662 sugar mills in the country, spread over Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, along with Punjab, Haryana, and Madhya Pradesh. So 2010-11 में there were 662 sugar mills in India. 60% mills are in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. तो 662 मिल्स में से 60% मिल्स इन उत्तर प्रदेश एंड बिहार, बिकॉज दे आर मेजर शुगर केन प्रोड्यूसिंग एरिया. द ईस्टर्न इंडस्ट्री इज सीजनल इन नेचर. इस इंडस्ट्री के शॉर्ट कॉमिंग से इट इज सीजनल इन नेचर. All the year the sugar production does not take place. When the harvesting of sugar cane take place, जब खेतों में शुगर केन की ईख की कटाई हो जाती है और वो सब फिर जब आ जाते हैं फैक्ट्री में, तो फिर तो खेतों में शुगर केन बचता ही नहीं है, ईख तो बचता ही नहीं है, वो तो खास मौसम में ही पैदा होता है, इसलिए सालों भर इस फैक्ट्री में काम नहीं चलते, तो लेबर को बाकी समय में बैठना पड़ता है. ये इस इंडस्ट्री के एक थोड़ा ड्रॉबैक है. तो इट इज आइडियली सूटेड टू द कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर. इसलिए कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर में इंडस्ट्री ज़्यादा फायदेमंद और सफल होती है, क्योंकि साल के कुछ महीने में अगर फैक्ट्री में काम नहीं होंगे, मजदूरों को काम नहीं मिलेगा, तो फिर उनकी जीविका संकट में पड़ जाएंगी. एंड कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर में कोई एक मालिक नहीं होता है. All the raw material supplier and the producer are as a whole they distribute their profits among themselves. In recent years, there is a tendency for the mills to shift and concentrate in southern and western states, especially in Maharashtra. तो कुछ पिछले 10-15 सालों में 20 सालों में ये देखने में आया है कि जो भारत में शुगर इंडस्ट्री के मिल्स है वो साउथ इंडिया की तरफ शिफ्ट हो रही है. क्यों महाराष्ट्र की तरफ शिफ्ट हो रही है? क्यों? दिस इज बिकॉज द केन प्रोड्यूस्ड हियर हैज ए हायर सुक्रोज कंटेंट. एक तो साउथ इंडियन साइड में क्लाइमेटिक कंडीशन मॉइस्ट होता है, समुद्र के नज़दीक होने से हवा में नमी होती है, तो वहाँ के ईख में रस की मात्रा ज़्यादा होती है. द कूलर क्लाइमेट आल्सो इंश्योर ए लॉन्गर क्रशिंग सीजन. ठंडा मौसम होने से ज़्यादा दिन तक ऊख कटते रहते हैं, खेतों में रहते हैं, लोगों को काम मिलते रहता है साल में 9 महीने 10 महीने तक. मोर ओवर द कॉपरेटिव्स आर मोर सक्सेसफुल इन दिस. और साउथ इंडिया के जो मिल्स हैं वो कॉपरेटिव सेक्टर्स में है. तो आउट ऑफ 662 शुगर मिल्स, मोस्ट 60% आर इन नॉर्थ इंडिया और बिहार एंड गुजरात, बिहार एंड उत्तर प्रदेश. बट इन रिसेंट years it has that there is a new tradition of shifting of sugar mills in South India, especially in Maharashtra, because first of all there is cooler climate and moist climate. The sucrose content in the sugar cane is much higher, and the mills in southern India are in cooperative sector which provide work for whole of the year. Major challenges include the seasonal nature of industry. The sugar industry has one drawback, that's seasonal industry. It does not operate whole the year round. Old and inefficient methods of production, transport delay in reaching canes to the factory, and the need to maximize the use of baggages. Baggages means जो छिलका होता है फिर उसका रीयूटिलाइजेशन कैसे. So these are few drawbacks of this industry, and we have just concluded 3 agro-based industry. So okay, I will try to finish the mineral based industry in next video. Okay.